Hey everyone, I'm Ian Shadden, this is Richard Hinkley. We are here to continue on with State Machines and Fighting Games.
That's right, Fist Puncher 2 is
Fist Puncher
the
2.
unofficial title of this stream. All right, so let's see. Last time we left off and we
were kind of rushed, we had to get on
Yeah.
out. And actually, today we have a shorter stream as well. Fortnite's going to be coming in right after us, so we have a hard stop. But we're going to try to get through as much as all the awesome stuff that Richard's put together as we can. But
Yep.
we only had very little last stream to cover. It was
yeah,
just
we almost got there.
just the time just ran out. So we're just gonna. You want to just jump right in, or
Yeah, let's. Well, yeah, I guess we'll jump right in and then we'll go back to where we were and where we're going. That'll be fine.
Okay.
All right, so last time we were right at the end. We were just getting our. Oh, there we are. That's exactly where we stopped last
Yeah,
time.
right there. This is where we were.
I guess I wrote that while we were here last time. All right, so let's get this off my lap. So we're just binding our inputs here. This is pretty standard boilerplate stuff. I don't want to spend a lot of time going over it, but we read the two axes and we read the press and release events on the two buttons.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've said that this is the general way you do this before, but so generally speaking, don't do things here.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I had a special button that makes me, I don't know, drink a potion or whatever, don't give the drink the potion command in the actual input. Simply record that I pressed the button to drink the potion,
Mm-hmm.
and then later on in the tick, you can handle all the buttons that are pushed and
Right.
do that sort of thing. That's generally going to be a safer way to go about things. I guess for debugging or for certain things that might not matter at all, like bringing up a menu that's totally independent of the game,
Mm-hmm.
you might be able to do that. But in general, I just don't. Also, we actually need to in this game because we're going to pass all this through our state machines. So we need to collect up all the input and then pass it all at once anyway.
Right. We don't want to consume anything too soon.
Yes. So it's not even an option in this case. All right. So yeah, basically we're just going to take our buttons and add them into a big old bit mask. And that's it. And all we have to do is take our enumerated type, cast that to an int32,
Mm-hmm.
and just put it into a big uint32. This should actually probably be a regular int32, but
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter. So yeah, we're gonna take the directions that we're pressing and the buttons that we're pressing and record those. We're also gonna have buttons down old because this lets us know if we just pressed a button this frame or if that button was also down last frame. So it lets us distinguish between holding a button down and having just freshly pressed it.
Right.
If we cared, we could also use the test to see if it was down, but now it's not. That means it was just freshly released. We happen not to care, but we still have the information. So those are there. And as you can see up here, when we read the axis, we don't even actually... We don't clamp it or anything like that. We just read it in, and then later on we'll handle all the processing. We don't even go to this extent with this. Okay, so that's just about all for that. And let's see, where were we last time? Did we not? We didn't even put the character in, did we?
No.
Okay. Well, we should probably do that. Now, we made our character out of a default pawn, I believe.
Yep.
So let's do that.
Gave us access to consuming inputs and things along those lines very easily, but
Yep. And I believe we did make our pawn. Yeah, we did. FG default pawn.
Yep.
And really, we should have made this out of a regular pawn, but we didn't.
well, there was some concern when we were first creating it. Like, let's make sure that we have raw input and we don't have to dance around the game mode or any of this kind of stuff. And default pawn automatically consumes a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, we kind of did that. Speaking of the game mode, I think we do have a game mode here, so we'll use our game mode. Oh wait, we should have a game mode. We should have a game mode somewhere. Yeah, there it is. Fighting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Because code projects do that for us anyway. I don't think we really did anything of interest in it.
No, it was just in case we needed it. We had it
Oops.
there.
I'm having a lot of input errors today, which is not good for fighting games. Let's see. Game mode BP. Did I do it right that time? Yes, I did. I like to make this into a BP just because sometimes, not in this case, but sometimes there are like variables that you have on your game mode that I might want to edit. So just to do that, I put those in there. And we're going to need to go to our project settings and set that up.
Maps and modes, yep.
So instead of that, we use the BP that we just made. And the default pawn class should be our fighting game pawn. And I think that's all. Yeah, I think that's all we really care about there. Let's make sure that we actually set up our input too while we're here. I think we did. Yeah, we did.
We already set up input.
Okay.
You got around it sneakily by copying the file.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I copied it because I didn't want to. Because look at how much that is. I don't want to click all that.
Yep.
Um,
Now, do you have to set the pawn in the game mode as well?
well, it should be overridden, I think.
Yeah, I think we're...
because I overrode it at the menu. So
Excellent.
So we're okay here. Actually, I may even... Did I even do this in code? I may have also done it in code. There are like 3 different places I could have done this. But in any case, I did.
Right.
So let's see. So play.
We got, of course, nothing but...
We're just using a regular default pawn right now.
Yep.
All right, so let's go into the code for that because apparently that's not complete.
Did we not disable movement on the... Well, no, we talked about that. That was one of the...
we did. Yeah, we did. So let's make sure we're actually using this.
We may not be because have we actually been able to build? We were sitting on a bunch of half-done code for the longest time and getting tons and tons of errors.
I think we must have built this though because since I copied this... Oh, no, maybe not. Maybe not.
No.
This one builds. This one might not build.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's see if we finished all that. Yeah. Okay.
And now we wait.
Yeah, unfortunately. Let's see. Where else do we need to go here? So we got the input binding stuff done. There was one thing that was a small mistake that needed to be corrected. Somewhere the number 3 was used. FG default pawn. Let me see if I corrected this.
162 of FG default pawn.
Yeah, here it is. Okay, it's not line 162 in this version, but here it is. This should not be 3. This was meant to be 1 stick plus how many buttons we have, which is 3. But just don't type the number 3. So if we added another button to our game or took a button away, that 3 would not be the correct value anymore.
Gotcha.
Now that said, I apparently don't mind hard coding that there's only 1 directional stick. Yeah, I mean...
That's reasonable.
Yeah, in this case, that's fine. If we're going to add a whole directional stick, then that would be wrong. But I am using the const as appropriate for the count of buttons.
I mean, this gets into kind of a game design realm where we're sitting there and we're making some assumptions right out the bat on our game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we may not know how many buttons we're going to have, but we know we're probably going to have a single stick because that's sort of a standard now.
Yeah.
And doing that and then having buttons be malleable makes more sense than maybe we should plan around having 2 sticks that somebody hasn't done in how long in a fighting game?
I don't know. Karate Champ was in like the early to mid 80s, and that's the last one I can think of.
Yeah.
Now, that said, it might be kind of neat to do, to use the shoulders and triggers and 2 sticks. So you have 4 buttons and 2 sticks. And
you do like movement, and then like you could choose guards or something with the other stick or something.
Aim or do stances or have that compound what your move is, like a direction plus a thing.
Yeah.
So there are things you could do, and in games like Dark Souls and Bloodborne and games like that are they're sort of like fighting games, and they use the 2 sticks.
Yeah, one's usually for camera control at that point.
Yeah, one's usually for camera control, but it might be interesting to do that. It's something I'd like to do at some point just to try it out, but that's not a promise that we're doing a stream on that or anything. That's just something that I think is cool. Okay, so that did compile. Let's see where we stand. Now, of course, we still have a regular default pawn.
Okay, wait, go back and hit play again. And then Shift F1 out. Oh, actually, we can probably see it over the side there.
So this is
we're actually only loading the default pawn.
This is a regular old default pawn. So let's just check this again. Default pawn class should be
pawn.
okay.
And wait. Go, play.
Yes?
That's default pawn. You want player pawn.
FG pawn B. Oh.
Isn't there?
No, that's it.
No, you're right.
Let's just check our settings again because maybe we didn't set that up in maps and modes properly. Game mode BP.
Yeah, that's the one you
is
set.
The one we just set.
And we're not spectating, are we? That'd be weird.
Yeah, I feel like we're being pretty explicit.
Oh, wait,
here.
wait. Can you scroll back a bit? Well, no, you should still get a 0, 0 spawn, shouldn't you? Even without a spawn point.
Well, I think you should spawn at the. Oh well, let's actually. Oh, I'm still in the game. Okay, so we
No,
do
you
have
a spawn point.
We do have a spawn point in the game. And.
Oh, it's always these things that.
Yeah, I know it's every time. I mean, it's to the point where it doesn't even increase my heart rate anymore when this happens live because I just expect it.
Yeah, this is gonna happen.
Let's see.
Oh, check your map. Level settings. World
Check my
settings.
map.
Settings. World settings.
Oh, for this specific one, do you think I have an override?
Well, game override says none down there, but you could override it.
Just tell it. No, really.
No, really.
I'm
Seriously,
totally
bro.
serious. Whoops.
Nope, still giving you.
Nope.
And we're still getting the.
Okay, let's make sure that the thing that I think I'm using.
Yep, let's just relaunch it and see what happens.
Let's
Bye.
see all that. And I'm gonna call this FG map because I'm tired of using the default template map. Yeah, development editor Win64. Okay, so we're all right on that. And this should be, yeah. So we're turning that on.
Well, it doesn't. That doesn't matter.
Or, I
because
mean,
we weren't even getting the correct pawn. Huh? Wait, what?
Because we didn't set any moves on the pawn.
We're immediately murdering the pawn.
We're immediately murdering the pawn. We probably should have checked the output log, given that I specifically wrote an output to do this. Okay.
Hey, you know what we can do?
What?
We can totally check the output log when it reloads to see
Yeah.
if you're explicitly destroying your.
I think we might. Yeah, because
Because you would get a default pawn after you, right?
Yeah,
No.
I think the engine might.
Well, since it's maybe done in.
The engine might on
play.
failure just do
Yeah.
that for you.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't specify one at all, or if it otherwise failed. So okay. So we'll just check that again. That might mean that we need to make some moves first, which is fine because that's fun.
Yeah.
And have we? It's actually already loading. It's just over here. No, not that one. This one. There it is. Okay, it actually loaded in the background.
So hit your output log, clear it,
Yep.
hit play. No
Right there,
moves.
right
However, it looks like you're in a different position. Different map?
I may have just. Whoops. I may have just turned the. I may have just turned the cursor or something like that. I don't know. Let me see. No, I suspect I'm just slightly underground or something along those lines.
No, you literally don't have a pawn now.
Ah,
So.
there we are.
Yeah, it's dropping you down below the ground because 0, 0 is below
Putting
you.
me just inside the ground. Yeah. Okay, so we have to make moves. So that's fine. And we have no moves here. So let's get to that. That's gonna be a little bit of what we do today.
Now we're not gonna. Well, I don't know. We didn't talk about this. Did you want to generate every move, or we're gonna import some from?
We
the
can
other
import.
project?
Yeah, we can. I think we can.
I'm just
probably
looking at what you
copy
have on the
some
other
over.
screen, going, "Oh, geez,
It's
dude."
kind of a fair amount.
Yeah.
But yeah, setting up this data for a fighting game is unavoidably laborious. Like that's just.
That's how it
It
goes.
doesn't matter what you make your fighting game in. There's always going to be a ton of really specific data. A lot of times they use text files.
Yeah.
Even. But there's no shortcut to this is gonna be a lot of work. So let's see. All right, let's start with our basic move, which is going to be our idle, just our stand around, do nothing. So idle. All right, so idle needs an animation, and
Does it need an animation? Because we talked about
no,
this.
you're right. Idle is the
does-
one state that doesn't need an animation.
Yep, because we allow
anim-
the state machine of the animation blueprint to just go ahead and handle that. Idle does nothing, and therefore, literally does nothing.
Yep. Yeah, the animation BP handles your idle for you. The animation BP should also probably handle things like walking, since those will probably not be states on the same level that like punches or dodges would be.
Right.
That would also be convenient because that would mean that if the idle state includes walking around, then that would mean that all your branches from idle into punch or kick or whatever don't need to be duplicated for walk forward and walk backward.
Right.
So that's another good reason to have that all be one one state. Okay, so let's see. So we have idle, and then when we look at our character, or our pawn,
Which currently has nothing in it.
yeah.
We have a static mesh of a sphere.
Yep. We should. Was it? Oh wait, no, we're not even doing that. Sorry. All right. So the first thing I want to do actually is set up that default move. There it is.
Okay, the camera doesn't seem to move.
More
That's good.
importantly, yeah.
Output log.
Missing at least one directional atom. All right, that's fine.
So you actually need to have a move of some sort.
Yeah, well,
Not
actually,
just,
let's look at where that is.
Right there. It's literally on the
Is it
screen.
actually on the screen?
It's on the screen.
Okay. Oh, yes, we didn't set up any of our inputs.
And because of
should
that,
probably
we
do that.
once again killed our pawn.
Yes. Okay, well,
You are so harsh.
That's
You have failed me. Force choke.
Let's see. All right, so we have our moves. Let's set up our input atoms as well. So that should be no problem. So new folder.
Do you want it here?
I guess we could put it
I don't
under
know.
the moves. That's fine too.
No, it's however it is.
I'm okay. All right, now this we should set up one or two here, and then hopefully we can just copy the rest over from the other one. We'll just copy the files, and then restart the engine.
You don't need a media.
Whoops. Every time.
Miscellaneous, not media. Miscellaneous. And the media has the red icon that looks like the data assets. So you go for it every time. Every time. If anybody's keeping track.
So we need not a state machine input atom. Do we have our own? We have our own input atom, right? Yep, we have button input atoms and directional input atoms for our fighting game atoms. So directional atom. Direction, or we'll just call it D, and then I don't know, down back.
Okay.
I forget if we named them like that. Let me just see how we named them. No, we named them with a number. Even better.
Oh, like they
so
are.
So
on
1
the,
is down
keypad.
back. And just to review this is on the keypad again. So 1 is down and back, 6 is straight forward, 8 is straight up, 9 is up and forward. All of those, just assuming that you're facing to the right. 5 is neutral. So 1 down back. This gets. All right. Input direction is actually down back. There you go.
Because you set up in such a fashion to mirror that.
Okay, so. And we did it. We wrote it like this: 1/ down back. Okay. So should just cooking show that. Pretend we did 8 more of them.
Mm-hmm.
So there are directions, and we also have our buttons. And actually, I separated these out before, so we'll separate them out again. And we're going to do the same thing for our buttons. We'll move them in a second. So we'll just make one. What's an example of a button name? Well, actually, we only have, I think we'll just do all our buttons. Held down, just pressed, and up are the only 3 options for a button. Now, remember that we have 2 different buttons, right? We have the left face button and the top face button, but these are for the states of a button. So what button it is doesn't matter. So there are only 3 of these. So held down. I am typing that, right? Okay.
No, for whatever reason, you're somewhere else.
Because I clicked into I'm in that one.
Gotcha.
Held down, and because these are, you see what I mean? Input error. It's crazy today. So.
Solar flares?
Yeah.
It's all wireless, right?
Probably solar flares or Illuminati. It could be any.
Oh, the Illuminati. Wow. That escalated quickly.
The important thing is just that it's not me, because that's not reasonable.
Clint is over here saying chemtrails. So it's the government mind controlling Richard right now.
Yeah. Just pressed. Just pressed. Just pressed. And then the third one, whoops, save that. And then the third one, duplicate, is going to be up. And remember, this description is just here so that we can print this out in a debug log if we want to. That's really the only purpose for that. All right, and actually I put them way up here originally. So I'm going to mirror that. Direction atoms. If you see that I misspell any of these things, let me know because it's a little hard to read at this distance. And button atoms, I believe. All right. So that goes to there. And then these three go over to here. And then we will just grab these. Oh, whoops. All right. That's ugly. If those come out weird, I'm going to know why. Okay.
You're taking some chances, aren't you? Not just going to migrate. You're going to be like...
I'm just going to dump files.
Yep. I mean, if you're going to do that, you might as well just obliterate the entire folder structure and just copy it over.
I mean, it's... Oh, well, there you go.
It's magic.
Yep, and they have the right values and everything. Okay, that's good. So that was pretty easy. All right, so there we go. Now we don't have to type in 8 more of those. All right, idle doesn't do anything, blah, blah. We have our inputs, everything's saved. And this time, well, we should have cleared the log first. Let's try that again. We're still missing at least one directional atom. Why are we missing one directional atom? Because we didn't actually tell it anywhere that those are our directional atoms.
Right.
So.
But where do they go?
I believe that's part of the game mode, which further makes the argument for making a blueprint out of these things. So. Am I in the game mode? Yeah, I am.
Yeah, I don't think that's in here. Do we have a custom controller?
Unless we didn't do it. Oh, wait. Is it in the pawn? It might be in the pawn.
Yeah, there was a bunch of blank spaces, if I remember correctly, somewhere.
Filling pawn, current move.
Yeah, there they are.
There we are. All right, so we need to get all these things set up. This is a few clicks away. So we set these up on the pawn. Setting them up on the game mode is probably a more generic way to do it, but setting up on the pawn would allow us to have characters with different inputs if we wanted to, which we probably wouldn't because the system is generic enough that it doesn't matter. I'm making sure I'm setting these up right. These should just go in order. I believe I put the fields in order so that I could just go 1 through 9.
Yep.
And if every character in your fighting game is based on the same pawn, but then they have different, meshes or data assets attached to them, then this will be fine because this will be the base class for all of your, and then you'll derive your individual characters from this base.
Right.
In which case this will be fine. So there are your directional things, and there are your button atoms.
Once again, our pawn will kill itself if it doesn't get its buttons.
And I believe that the order of buttons is up, just pressed, and held down, but I'm actually just going to check that. Actually, I'm not even sure if it probably matters. The order is up, just pressed, and held down. Hey, what do you know?
Good job.
Almost like the exact same predictable brain that clicks media asset every time also determined that order. Okay, so we don't have an animation. We do have this. We have the pawn set up to start as idle. Hopefully this time we get it. There we go. It works. And you can see that we've correctly spawned. We're not in the floor. Excellent. Okay, we have a working pawn now that does nothing and has no art asset.
That does not kill itself.
We should probably put on the mesh.
Probably should do this.
Ian, is that something you would like to do? Or should we copy it over? Or should I just wing it and you just sort of guide me?
I would like to see what you're going to do, sir.
All
Actually,
right.
this is really easy. I mean,
It is trivially easy for Ian's.
yes.
That is true. I don't do this as often.
Come on, you're a programmer, man. You should be
That
able
is
to handle
true.
this.
Oh, that is true. Okay, so let's actually do a couple of things. First off, this ball should not show up in game. So I'll just do that now.
It's fair.
I mean, otherwise, the character that isn't yours is going to have a huge sphere sort of locked at their feet.
So you need 3 other
So-
components.
So we want to add. We're going to add a skeletal mesh because we need that to see what we're doing. We're normally going to add a spring arm and then a camera on the back of that spring arm, so that because otherwise the camera will be like between our feet. It'll be
Yep.
at our origin point, which is no good. So that would be the 3 things. For this, we're going to end up removing the spring arm eventually because fighting games, unlike most other
Yeah.
games, the camera is sort of independent of the 2 characters. It sort of factors them both in, and neither character is really the one that owns the camera, like in a, like
Exactly.
in any single player game. All right, so let's add in a skeletal mesh.
I don't even think we named it last time.
Yeah,
It's
and somewhere over here.
scroll up.
Ah,
There.
there we go.
Mannequin.
I guess it's that one.
And then you need to change your anim class. We're going to need an
And
anim blueprint.
Does it say
but
it's
we
using
have-
a blue? Oh, it does say we're using a blueprint. Okay.
Yep, but I don't think we actually have created our blueprint yet, have we? Although we do end up just modifying third-person anim BP.
Looks like we haven't.
Yeah.
You want to copy that over, or actually, we can just make it live.
Yeah, it's kind of like I said. We just modified it from third-person anim BP.
Do you remember where you put it?
It should
Is
be
it
right.
in-
It should
in
be
with the
by
mesh?
mannequin.
15 double-click attempts. Okay. This.
No, it's not here. Go. Oh, where did we? Is it just up in?
Oh, is it up? It's in with the
animation.
animations. There it is.
Yep. Like I said, we modified third-person
Yeah,
anim
there
BP.
it is. Okay, so let's make the most. Yeah, I guess this is good to go through.
Yep.
Let's just make the most basic. Click, click, click. Oh wait.
Oh, that's right. We already copied it over,
copied
so
it
we
over.
didn't have to.
Never mind.
So, okay, just really quick, what we did do is, so since this is a modification of third-person anim BP, we removed everything for blueprint animation update, so there's no movement on this guy. He doesn't understand speed, he doesn't understand direction, any of that. Also, what we did, if you could click the anim graph,
All right.
it's
this one.
that third tab, is we have our default state machine, which is really just idle. It has some selectors in there for randomly choosing whether or not he's juking and jiving and
Yeah, you
whatever.
can kind of see him. Every once in a while, he sort of
Yep.
maneuvers a little bit.
And then we have a montage slot. And that's it. And if you saw in the event graph, we have a single event that will be calling from the pawn that says, hey, what montage am I supposed to play? And then we just play it. So these anim blueprints are incredibly simple.
Yeah, this is very basic stuff.
Yep.
A lot of old fighting games, though, your character was, especially when they used to be sprite-based, your character is only ever doing exactly one thing.
Exactly.
So, fighting games are actually, in some ways, kind of simple for this. Now, later on, when you get 3D games and you get characters with uneven elevation and they're propping their foot up and they're like, they're in the sword stance, but they're sort of turning as the guy walks around. Like, you can get a lot of little modifiers and blends in there, but
At the end of the day, though, lots of times those blends they go from that twisted state to heading straight towards you.
yeah,
Right.
they
So there's just a
sort of-
minor blend, and then it's into the move, right? And the move is straight at you.
Yeah.
Now we do need to go back into that your
yes.
pawn.
We didn't actually put that on, did we?
Nope. And it's the third person anim BP.
That one.
Yep.
Okay.
And if you compile
oh.
that and go to viewport real quick, we should be able to see that he's. He's in.
There he is, and you can see he's in his his boxing stance or whatever. It's not like a T-pose or anything, moving around a little bit. All right, so there's our guy.
Then we need our boom.
We
and our
can
camera.
put a little camera on him.
Well, there is one more thing we need to do.
What is that?
We need to rotate him 90 degrees
Yeah, I actually did that earlier today.
because Unreal.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we need to put a -90 pitch on him there. That's actually the direction he should be facing. I
Yep.
think because when we imported the animations, there was a 90-degree.
There's a lot of history that just simply hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Basically, positive X should be what we use in Unreal. When we're animating in Maya, positive Y ends up being the way that we face everything down. So just a lot of history built up in there, and we just work around it.
Regular camera, and then the camera sticks onto the spring arm. And I think, do we have to specify the socket?
No, you don't have to do any of that. You just have to change the spring arm to move it up to his waist height. And then rotate it around, also -90.
Yeah. There we go. So now the camera's actually looking at him.
Yep. Now when you compile and play, we should actually see him.
Hopefully.
Bloop.
Hey, that's great. And he does nothing because all he does is idle. Well, he does something. He idles.
He idles. Our lighting seems a little off, but whatever. We can select your directional light really quick.
I mean, well, here, I'll just...
Or, yeah, I guess we could just rotate our start by how many ever degrees. Perfect.
There you go. Okay. Oops. All right, so let's start giving him some stuff to do. This is Fist Puncher, so we're going to need some punching with and or at fists. So
this is correct.
Let's start with that. All right, so we have idle. We're going to want a new move, and we're kind of going to design these moves from the top and then go, oh, wait, we need this thing that's right underneath, and then step out and create the thing that's underneath. So there's going to be a lot of that in the creation process. All right, so this move is going to be called, what is this, straight left? I just want the names the same so that if I copy things over, the assets have identical names and we save time. Button atoms, mannequin, no. You go away. You moves. Yeah, straight left. All right, so straight left. Animation, we already have that. Left punch, right there. Move name. Straight left punch. Okay, and these, we'll talk about these in a minute. I think we talked about these last time. Basically what they do is they say when you, this one says when you start the move, wipe out all your buffered input so that if you've pressed 15 things before, it clears it and it will only do the stuff that you press while you're actually in this move.
Right.
And clear input on exit is just the other thing. When you leave the move, clear it out.
Right.
That's good for moves like getting up from being knocked down, where if the guy pressed kick, punch, whatever while they're on the ground, after they get up, you want them to have to press it again. You don't want them to do that
Right. You don't want it to be buffered up for you.
Yeah. Some games make getting up with a punch part of the thing. That's a different case. But yeah, so just cases where you'd want to do that. Especially this one is especially important for if your character gets hit. You almost never want to do an attack coming out of a hit reaction because that's almost always wrong. So don't buffer that up because the player has no way of saying no, don't. You can't unpress buttons, you know. Okay, so straight left. So the issue with straight left was that we didn't have a way to link into it for one thing. So we have the animation for it. But idle doesn't link into it. There's our problem. So let's make a link. So we're gonna make a idle data. And idle data is gonna have a link that goes, it's gonna be a move link. And it's going to go from idle to straight left. So I'm just going to name it idle to straight left. This will be convenient later when we look at the names so we can distinguish the name of a move from the name of a move link.
Right.
Because all the move links will have names like move X to move Y. All right, so the move we're linking to is straight left. The move we're linking from actually doesn't matter. Any move could say this is one of my links, and they can all share it. That's fine. Cancel windows, we don't need any cancel windows because we can cancel at any time.
Idle can just be dumped.
It's idle. That's the point. Now, if we had a punch that then goes into another punch, then we'd have to say, well, you have to wait until your fist is all the way out before you can start the next punch.
Right.
So that you don't get this,
the weird shimmy action.
Yeah, this thing where I start 15 punches and I don't finish any of them. Oh, hey, and we need an input state machine. So
we need to go make an input state machine.
right, and this is how this works. Now the input state machine I'm going to put under straight left. This is just how I'm categorizing things, by the way. You could dump this all in one directory. Like Unreal doesn't care.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Yeah.
Why would you do that to the other people you're working with?
I personally wouldn't, but I'm nice. Maybe you're not as nice. I don't know. Yeah, I like to have these things a little bit organized. Not so much that it becomes like a burden to deal with the organizational structure, but you know, enough that it all works. Okay, so this is going to be where's our a fighting game state? Yes, there it is. Because we're making the fighting game state machine. So straight left, and we're gonna have a habit of marking all of our moves. Yeah, like this. Whoops. Straight left underscore input. So we're gonna have several move states in here, and it's just important that we recognize that it's for a move that has multiple, you know, multiple things in a row, like quarter circle forward, then something. We're just going to name it underscore input so that when we go to name it, when we go to pick it in the other list, it's clear that we're picking the one that starts the sequence and not, you know, partway through.
Exactly.
Okay, so straight left input. And that's going to be pretty simple. It's a state machine like we've made before. This state, we're not going to do any shared branches today, but we saw how that works on the quest thing. It's the same, but we're just going to do instance branches. And they're all going to be fighting game input branches.
Yep.
All right, so this branch requires that we press the left button. Requires that we not be pressing the top button. We could take or leave that, really. And then directions, anim.
All directions.
Don't care what direction you're pressing, because we don't have a different down and punch or backward and punch or whatever. Just so any direction you press, they're all acceptable. That's why we phrase this as acceptable. You know, at least one of these must be pressed, but we just turn them all on. They're all good. That's about it. Oh, and then, right, and then we have to say where we're going with that. We didn't make our generic accept state yet. Let's go back and make that. I think that was like top level. Yeah, that was top level. All right, we don't actually need a reject state this time, but we do need a general purpose accept state. Accept, terminate immediately. There we go. So if we ever hit this state, we're done. All right, so that's done. Now we can sort of start collapsing our stack a bit. We accept. So that, whoops. Oh, yeah, our map is FG map. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Now we can go away because it's done.
Now we know what state machine we want. It's that one.
Yep.
So that's good.
That one, and then you get that one out of the way.
Yeah, it just keeps going down the line. Now this one is what we need. We need to link in idle to straight left. Perfect. That's why we named them like that. And we don't need to mess with that. Oh, I think we should also mention that as another place to clear your inputs, you can say if you took this specific branch, then clear input. So there are a lot of cases where you might want to clear input, and so we try to give as many, you know, just put as many options in as possible for designers. That way you've thought about it ahead of time, it all fits in smoothly, and designers don't get the delay of asking you to program every single extra thing they want. You're still going to have to program some custom stuff,
right?
But just cut it down. Oh, and we need a way to get out of straight left. Now, it's not a problem if we don't, but we'll throw one punch and be stuck in it forever.
Yeah.
Like, it won't crash or anything. You'll just be stuck. So we're going to link, and then it's the same process. Right here, it's a data asset. It's a move link. It goes to
straight left to idle.
Straight left to idle. I hope I spell these things correctly. It's so hard to see. All right, so the move we're going to is idle. The cancel window. Okay, now here I am going to look up because I actually...
There should be a cancel window on this one.
Yeah, there should be because it needs to be at the end of the move. And one way you can do this is you can just look at your actual animation. If we had our character still open, we could just play through the animation montage, and then look at where in the move we think we should be allowed to be done. But I'm just going to look over here because I already have it written down. All right, so this is going to start at 0.556. That's pretty slow for a punch animation. A whole half a second for a quick jab, but that's okay. Those are the animations we're working with, and it's fine.
Now, is this 0.556 in seconds?
Yep.
As held independently of the animation.
So you start the animation, and then 0.556 seconds later, you're at a point where the game will say, okay, now we can branch to idle.
Okay, so if we were to go in, you say the punch is kind of slow. All right, well, what if we were to go in and speed up the punch? We'd have to come back into here and cut this down. So if we doubled the speed of the animation, we'd have to have our window here.
Yes.
Okay.
And it might be not a bad feature for you to have a cancel window checkbox that says just when the animation's done, and then just ask the game how long the animation is. Like
right.
That's another way to do it. I simply didn't do that this time. And then for this,
the end of time.
yeah, you have 1 million seconds, or else you're stuck in the punch. So if you have a frame, so if you have a hitch, if you have a hitch that goes from about half a second to about 1.5 million seconds, at that point your game will break. So don't have hitches
What
that
is
last
1.5 million seconds?
Probably you will be dead.
Yeah. Really?
It sounds like one of those you will be dead kind of times. Or at least this game will be boring by now.
This game will be boring by now.
Yes. And this is our... Oh, did we not... Oh, I guess we didn't save that. What am I... Oh, it's sorry. So the input state machine is accept because there's no way that you can possibly fail this. Right. Once you reach the time window, it just automatically goes back to idle. I think we have a guy who punches now.
Only one way to find out. Oh, 1 million seconds isn't that long.
The answer is no. The answer is no, we don't have a guy who punches right now. Okay. Why not?
Just so you know, 1 million seconds is actually only 27 hours.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking of 1 billion. Oh, well. But even then, that would only be 270 hours. Or no. Yeah. No, that would be 270 times 1,000. Or 27 times 1,000. 27,000.
No.
Yes?
Well, no, that's 10
Live
million,
math.
100 million.
Just under 3 days.
Okay, so we could potentially wait 1 million seconds.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine.
That's perfectly acceptable.
Fine. That's a reasonable length of time to have for a hitch. Okay, so the straight left didn't actually link back to idle, so that's why it didn't work. By the way, if you do make a fighting game, aside from not multiplying out seconds and comparing them to days properly, you're going to make the other mistake that I'm making here a lot, which is you're going to have something in your move that's mislinked. You need to test these things really intensely.
Yes.
Just test every possible link between any two moves that you expect to link together.
Is it me?
Because you see, no, it's not you. It's something wrong with this. I am hoping that we actually coded all of this. So let's see.
You had like 3 lines of code left.
Yeah. Straight left to idle is linked from the left punch animation. Straight left to idle. Well, no, wait. I'm sorry. Why am I checking that? We're not getting into the straight left.
Mm-hmm. We didn't get to it first.
So idle goes to straight left.
Hey, you what? Did you give it a montage?
I think I did.
Check your move.
But yeah, let's check that.
Because if you never had a montage.
No, there we go. You got to have a montage.
You gotta have a montage. I want to start singing it.
I do too.
So bad.
But it's probably copyright infringement if we just belt
Audio
it out.
cuts out on Twitch.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. So we have our straight left input. Oh no, I'm sorry. We're at idle.
Oh, wait, hold on. Did this require a custom event in the pawn?
Did we not write do move yet?
No.
Ooh.
Well, we may have done do move, but didn't it have a?
Let's see. We're ticking. We're reading our directions. We're checking our buttons.
I don't think it's in the blueprint.
You don't think it's in the blueprint?
Yeah, didn't we do it in the blueprint for the pawn?
I thought that we did implement the do move event in the blueprint.
No.
Did
You
we?
just literally made the blueprint, dude.
I thought
Go-
we found that it had
Go
been
back in the
copied
blueprint.
over.
No. We found that the one bit had copied over because we copied over the animation since we didn't have to redo everything. But we
Oh,
made our pawn.
The pawn
straight.
blueprint.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Thank you.
This
This is why we don't have one-person streams, or why I don't have one-person streams. I don't know.
Yeah, we just needed the do move,
Okay.
and then we pass it on to the.
Yeah, we do.
Yep.
Oh, and this is also a good place to put some debug output.
Yep.
So, this should not be null, but I sometimes like to check. Actually, I don't want to do that
Yeah,
kind of
you want
check.
the
I want
other
to do the
one.
other kind.
Which is a macro with literally a branch in there that does the same thing.
Yep. Okay, so we'll complain if that happens,
Mm-hmm.
and if it's cool, then we can take this and we can get the name off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Get move name, which is why we put those pretty names on there in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Convert that to a string. That's automatic. And link it into here. And then what? I think we have to extract.
Okay, so we need to get you need to grab your skeleton mesh.
Oh yes. Sorry.
Because your move, if I remember correctly, is a mon. No.
Yeah. The move. This animation
Right.
should be a montage.
Yeah, you get your animation
So
as a
we get
montage,
that.
and then we grab our skeleton mesh, and we get our anim instance.
There
Yep.
we go. Get our anim instance.
Cast 2.
Okay. Cast, and I'm making the world's ugliest spaghetti blueprint here,
Yep.
but that's
third
okay.
third person NMBP. And then you can call whatever our function in there was.
Oh, is it setting a variable in it?
No, it's an event. I don't think we named it that. Just go under call function really quick.
Call function. Okay.
Attack anim.
Attack anim. Thank you. There we go.
Yep. That
Hook
takes
that
that,
up.
and then into your
This
cast.
is hooked up into our. Yeah. Cast goes to attack. This goes to the print. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, they should give us something. Could be fire. Okay, what's your output log saying now?
Oh yeah. Let's get that output log up. Okay.
Okay.
Time to debug. So
Well, I mean, we're not even doing do move. It appears then, because
yeah.
we should be spamming something.
Yeah, well, whenever we succeed, we should be spamming something. So we'll start by doing this. That's okay. Part of this is live debugging, which is fine. Log temp warning. Yes. I'm even going to say what the move is going to be. Current move, just in case that's null. Was it get, or was it just move name?
I think it was just
It sure was.
good job.
There it is. So that needs to be a string, and we need the actual content of the string, not an f string itself. So if that's valid, then yes. Otherwise, no. There we go. That should compile, I think. Oh no, it shouldn't, because I missed that. Let's see if I saved that before it noticed. Okay. The answer is no.
Nope.
Nope, not fast enough. Let's see. Next move, current. Oh, actually, I messed up long ago, apparently, when I did this. I put an extra one of those in there. Way at the beginning. Okay. UE log here. 1 open paren. 2 down to 1, up to 2. Down again. There we go. There we go. Okay, mismatched parens. Yeah, so we're definitely going to be copying some assets over.
Yeah.
Because I want to see two guys punching each other in the fists like today.
Still doesn't like your log.
Man, why can I not type a log statement today? Syntax error, expected a colon. Yeah, you would probably expect a colon
Yeah, because you got
instead
that
of a
whole
comma
question mark thing.
because I told you to expect one.
I never found one. You have betrayed me.
Yep.
Oh, poor Visual Studio.
That's all right. Expected another colon.
Did you closed it out too soon? Looks like. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. And now I already see this as red, so I'm already just preemptively gonna guess that it's telling me the truth about that too. Let's see. Yeah. So the text null that closes, then the conditional closes, then the log closes. Yeah.
Oh, looking better. Oh,
There we go.
that doesn't work. Too many braces.
Now, the best part is that I actually don't expect it to work in here. I just expect it to maybe complain, and if the logs don't come out, then I know that something else is
Oh,
wrong.
yeah. It looks like we're not getting any input.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Some of what we do on this show is live debugging, so I'm okay with this. All right, so here's where we set and start the new move. And let's see, here is where we have found a move to follow. So, if we don't find a move to follow, we'll just log out.
What?
Just that. That's fine.
Silence.
Just, okay. So
You
let's
have
see,
failed me.
we started in idle. I wonder if... I wonder if we just set up our link wrong and it knows about the link, but it's just not following it. Okay, so
Idle is not a move, and
idle is not a move.
well,
Oh.
you're getting no move,
Well, yeah.
even from just spamming idle.
Well, yeah, no, that's okay though because we never transitioned into
Right.
any move. So I wouldn't have expected a transition into idle. It's the fact that we're not transitioning out. So let's look again. Let's look again at everything we have set up. Idle has no animation. Idle links to straight left. Let's look at that link. That link has no cancel window, which should be... We're going to check that no cancel window is actually fine. And it goes to straight left input. Straight left input wants us to push left and not top. I'm going to turn that off now just because I don't care. Available directions is everything. Destination state is accept, which is
Which
good.
is the generic accept.
Right. We don't actually put the move there. We just put something that ends the state machine successfully.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is all pretty good, unless we have an error with our forbidden flags, which it doesn't look like is the problem.
Yep.
I'm going to check that we can in fact have no cancel window. Because that's a feature that maybe I didn't write. And if that doesn't work, we may.
What are we missing?
I'm assuming that we're actually reading buttons too. We're going to check that. If that doesn't work, we're going to go to the one that does work, and we can walk through and look at the data just the same in the one that does work, which is the one we're going to publish anyway. So that's fine. All right. Let's take that out because we're not going to read any logs while that's there. And I remember when I first wrote this, I did a lot of this. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So look, we actually do have.
Yeah.
We already do have.
Switching states and whatever.
We already do have input for that, so we don't need that. So let's look at our try links function.
Yeah, we need to find a place where we can decide if we have any input at all.
Yeah. Actually, let's do that first. Because I was just thinking that, but didn't actually do it. So here's where we look at all of our inputs and we decide which ones we want to keep around, which ones we want to discard. Are these? Wait, hold on. These might actually be displayed. Yes, they're visible anyway. Okay, we're just gonna look at these in the actual game without doing anything else.
You didn't build.
Oh, that's okay. That was already there. Yeah, so we're still getting the super heavy debug log spam.
Close out your world settings. It's the bottom.
Oh yeah, I guess
Just
we
kill
don't
that.
really need that.
What'd you call the property?
Yeah, let me just look what the name was. Input stream. Okay. So I'm just gonna look at the input properties. Okay.
Okay.
We are getting some inputs. Now, let's see. If I push this button, it does not... I'm going to pause it. Okay, so our buttons are not being registered as being pressed, right? While I'm holding this, it's not registering my buttons. So that might mean that it's not reading my controller.
Is it maybe reading mine? Hold on. So hit play again.
Yeah, just hold down your X on your D-pad there. And let me get my
Whoa,
mouse.
something.
Oh, did you see it?
We're getting changed input. Are you pressing something?
Yeah, I'm pressing X.
Okay, let off. I'm seeing held down, neutral, 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 neutral.
Yeah, that's probably me. Because there's a little bit of a delay on this because this is a long list.
Yeah.
Okay.
So something's happening.
All right. We're going to check through this for...
Hey, look, I'm in control.
Oh.
And maybe am I primary then?
Well, if that's the case, then you should be able to play. But you were player 2 when I tested this earlier.
Yeah, I'm not getting any input. Well, we're not consuming anything, but I'm in command of your camera. Oh.
Aw.
No.
All right. We're going to check through this for a minute or two more, and if we get nothing, then we just move on.
It is 3.
Yeah.
Might want to just consider
Just
moving
plopping the other
on.
one over?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot that we could dig into. It looks like we're getting input.
That is a good point. We are getting input. We are not
We're just not doing anything with it, which
reading
could
it
be
correctly.
It could be in the code, but it hopefully wouldn't be because this is almost a direct copy.
Yeah.
The data is where it gets a little wonky and
Yeah,
prone to error.
Yeah,
right? Prone to
fortunately,
user error.
I have said that like 6 times already. It's
Mhm.
very easy to make errors when designing fighting game input, which
Mhm.
is why I bring it back up. But yeah, let's see. Let's just look really quickly through this.
Mhm.
Just see if there's anything glaringly wrong. Yes, look at that. So here's where we check our cancel windows.
It's never the code. Uh-huh.
Um,
Somebody in chat. Uh-huh.
So here's where we check the cancel windows. You see can cancel comes out to true if you've passed. But, But can cancel. See, so can cancel should be... I don't think we have the feature in where you're allowed to have unlimited cancels. I'm not sure. So this will say can cancel is true if we passed, but if we had no cancel windows, it would be false, which means that, no, yes, but we do explicitly check. If we have no cancels, it automatically passes. Okay, so we do have that. And then we run state machine, which should be completely fine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm mystified, but that's okay.
We have a working version.
We sure do.
So we can just crack that open real quick and...
Oh yeah, I changed this time for no reason. We had it as 2 seconds, but that meant you could queue up like 15 punches. I think...
It was kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, we showed that last time at the beginning when we showed the finished working thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so here we are in our working version. Let's just look through the exact same thing we just created, but in a bigger one. All right, so we got idle. We have, as you can see, more moves. We've decided to put a little crouch on the top button. We have a little fireball move, which is just your quarter circle forward punch, and that does a little uppercut punch. The dodge move can also go into the uppercut, and we have the straight left also chains into the straight right. Now, for a proper fighting game, you'd want to have a lot more interconnections. So this is going to feel pretty stiff, but that's just basically because we don't have enough of the moves linking together, and we didn't tightly trim all the animations like down to the frame so that they cancel right when you think they should. That kind of careful, close attention is really important when you're actually making something for production. Since this is just a demo of the basic concept, though, we didn't bother to do that. That takes a lot of time, and that's once you get your code working, that's really where your fighting game is made.
Yep.
All right, so let's just check this. So we go to straight left. No cancel window, goes to straight left with straight left input. Straight left input is...
Not accepted.
Well, it's not accepted, it's not rejected, but it's not a terminate
just
immediately.
noting. And then our instance branches. Shift the triangle.
There we go.
Left face, top face, and
oh, at first we were gonna
No
have crouching inputs.
right.
But then I didn't, so I turned these off so that crouch punch could be on here, but we didn't have an animation for it, so whatever.
Destination is accepted.
Yeah, it's basically exactly what we have in the other one.
Exactly what we had in the other one. Nah.
Ah,
Eh.
ah. Oh, there we go. And there's the fireball that I can input like that. I mean, that's a pretty high rate of success for the fireball input.
Yeah.
And then duck and uppercut, duck and late uppercut. So actually, we can talk about that too. That's just a use of cancel window. So I'm going to hold this up so you can see duck and uppercut right at the end, or duck uppercut, and you see how much faster he threw that. He kind of just rose up with it as opposed to rising up and then doing it. So the difference in timing there, again, it's that's what it is. Yeah, let's do a little bit of that. Just to yeah, there we go. It feels so much better. There we go. Working fist punching. All right. The best thing about Fist Puncher is it's always a tie.
It is always
because every
a tie.
time you punch my fist, I also had to have punched your fist. It's a really fun game. All right, so let's look at that. So we went. We were talking about the dodge move. All right, dodge move, dodge animation. So it links out to both the uppercut and the idle. Now we list them in this order because it's priority order. It'll take the first branch that it hits when the code works right. Whatever. It'll take the first branch that it hits. Now in this case, since the cancel windows are spread enough apart, it won't really matter. But if I had two different moves and they both took equal priority, then this would matter. Especially like a fireball move and a punch move. Because the punch input that sets off the fireball move will also set off the just plain punch move. So therefore the fireball move needs to be listed first, or it'll be out prioritized by a move that has a subset of its input, and therefore you can never do it. All right, so let's look at dodge to uppercut. So basically, I actually just went into the animation here and said from 0.4 to 0.9 seconds. So you have a half-second window where you can launch that animation. Past 0.9 seconds, it's too late. Your guy's already stood back up and is doing his little hip roll back into idle. So at the very end, you can't cancel it. But anywhere from when he's just starting to rise from the crouch to when he's all the way up, anywhere in there, you're allowed to, and actually even a little past there, you're allowed to launch it. And we could tighten that down as much as we want. I chose to leave it kind of loose so that it can be very clear when you see this just how much delay we have.
Right.
All right, let's talk about the idle move. Whoops, the idle moves branch to fireball, dodge, and straight left. Dodge and straight left can happen anytime, so I just prioritize the dodge button over the punch button or whatever.
Right.
Doesn't really matter. The fireball move, though, that needs to be prioritized first, and if we don't... Yeah, and let's look at a state machine that has more than just one button input, too. You know, Okay, so here we go. So we got fireball input, and then 2, 3, 4.
4. Yep.
So I mean, you can figure out that this is down, down, forward, forward, punch. That's why there are 4 of them. And here we allow in a little bit of slop. So whoops. So you have to be pressing no buttons. If you press buttons early in the sequence, you don't get the fireball. At first, you can only press down. Now, if you press down and back, that just won't be counted as the start of the move. We'll just move right past that and ignore it. So it's okay to be strict here as long as you actually want to make sure they press down and they don't start the move with down forward.
Right.
If you wanted to, you could skip this atom entirely and move to the next one. So the next atom is going to be just down forward. Same requirements on the button. All we're doing is making sure that you're going through the motion without pressing the buttons. The third one, though, at this point, we can say down forward. I'm sorry, whoops. I'm not the right one.
Oh, it should be, right? You do have...
Yeah, here we go. Here's the third one. Forward. Yeah, I opened the second one again. Forward or up forward.
Right.
So
you can go a little bit beyond.
Yeah.
But you can't stop early. But you can go a little bit beyond.
Right, yes. You can overshoot it a bit. If I wanted to let you stop early, we could do that too. And we could have, multiple paths. Like, for example, we could have down and down forward is enough, or down forward and forward is enough, but not just down forward. And that would be a branching state machine, kind of like we did with the quests, where there are 2 different ways to accomplish something. That would be acceptable as well. So you can kind of tailor it to how forgiving you want your game's input to be. I tend to err on the side of a little more forgiving.
That makes sense.
But demanding enough that I know you actually meant to do this and didn't just flub the joystick and get a super move that you didn't want. So forward and up forward are both acceptable. And at this point, you still are not pressing the buttons. You have to complete the motion and then press the button. And then finally, at the last stage,
push button. Receive fireball.
Push button, receive fireball, pretty much. Acceptable directions. Anywhere in the forward range is fine. In case you twitch your hand a little bit.
Right. So you have to hold it so you can't return to neutral just yet.
Right. As long as it's not, as long as you don't go wildly off to straight up or straight down or back to neutral. As long as you're holding the stick somewhat forward, that's fine. And I should have left face button there. Am I in the right state? Somehow this works. Don't know how this works, but this works.
Wait, what?
Yeah. It works.
Do you even have to? Yeah, you have to. You have to do an input. Because it doesn't. Did you not have a button input in there?
That might be. I don't know. Maybe. Well, no, it can't be that doesn't work because otherwise the regular punches wouldn't work. I don't know.
Right. No.
Oh wait, no.
You
there
have left face. It's right there. You just have. But then why would you need the other branch for directions? Wouldn't you just need your one down there?
Yeah. This is. Oh. Okay. This goes to the accept state.
This
one. Yeah. So this one. Yeah. Just as long as you. So you have a little bit of time to wiggle the stick without having pressed the button, and it won't cancel you out, but it also doesn't accept you.
Right.
Yeah. That's okay. Yeah, that's why. Because there are 2 states there, and this is the one that you actually need to meet the bottom condition.
Right.
Right. And look at that. You actually have to end on forward or up forward.
Right. You have to either be on it or go forward, and you have to have your left face button down and not your top face
but
button.
Waggling down to down forward and then coming back up will not ruin it.
Right.
But you can't finish that way unless we check this box. Okay, there we go.
Wait, so how long do I have to input that? So click in the window.
You have a while. I think I give you like 2 seconds.
Yeah, just click into the viewport.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there just like quarter and done.
It's a very long period of leniency here.
Yeah,
so
because it's like a full a full second.
I think we just changed that to 1.0 or 1.5 seconds. So yeah, we keep a long input buffer on this. You might want to put in
but it's actually 1 second from my final input.
1 second from first input to final.
No, watch. So we're gonna down forward, wiggle, 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 uppercut.
Well, but wait, I'm saying hold it for more than a second, like.
Yeah.
Well, you're clearly correct about this.
Dude, I'm like wiggle, 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 and you're done. Our input
Sure.
is. I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think
Well,
they
we
were
don't-
canceling out of anything. Well, we're still receiving input that is acceptable.
Yes.
For the state of the state machine.
Yes, it should be pruning off old inputs, which
But how
should
long
mean
does
that
that happen?
the stuff. Well, how long that happens is defined by a number in code/data.
Because it seems like that one might be because it's still accepting the fact that you totally hit down a while ago.
Oh, it's in the game mode, I believe. Where's our game mode? Nope, not in game mode.
It should be on the pawn then.
It should be on the pawn then, yeah. And it should be.
Okay, 2 seconds.
It's 2 seconds. It is ridiculously long.
That is a long
As
time.
I was saying, yeah, it's-
because I'm saying no, punch.
Yeah. So it is ridiculously long. You should. I mean, one, that shouldn't be that long,
Mhm.
and two, when you do a move, you should probably have something that checks the total time it took you to input the move.
Right.
But
that's all.
we happen not to be doing that right
But that's
now.
all just adjustment for what you need for the game. That's getting into
Yeah.
game feel.
Right.
We need a system that works
Right.
to start, and then we go back and refine it down to the game feel of how we want special moves to feel, how we want just general punches to feel, and how long you have to give a player input.
Oh, that actually reminds me of another thing that I wanted to mention. That these state machines, okay, we're reading them from the oldest input on up to the
Yep.
newest input, which is sort of the obvious way to do it. But a different way to do it, and this will change your game feel. I love this about fighting games, by the way, that some of the design, a lot of the design is in the data, but some of the design is in the code. Some of the feel comes straight out of the engineering of it, so that lets someone who can only code actually have an input on how the game
How it
feels
feels, right.
directly through their own work. So another way to read these state machines would be to read them backwards from the most recent. So instead of like down, forward, punch, it would be punch, forward, down,
Mm-hmm.
right? And now you could do that without making your designers redo all their data backwards. You just
Right. It's just how I decide to read the data.
you just have to handle your state machines differently. It would take a little bit of code, but you can probably reverse your state machines in code, or you could just design them backwards. That's either way is fine. But the important part of that is that if you do it that way, your most recent input move will always be there, and that's good for games like I mentioned, the Souls games, where if I press attack a bunch of times and then I press dodge, when my current attack finishes, what should I do? Attack again, dodge, or nothing?
Right.
I would say dodge, because I pressed attack a bunch of times and then I thought, oh, no, bad idea, dodge.
Mm-hmm.
So now when this attack ends, the last thing I said to do was dodge, so do that.
Right. It gives you an ability to more easily cancel out of a system rather than checking everything coming on, or you've simply accepted that your next attack, that we've successfully hit a branch, let's do this, and you're stuck attacking 8 times in a row as the boss monster breathes fire on you and torches you to crisp.
Yeah. So for that kind of game, to get that more responsive, slightly less committed feel to it, you might read the inputs from the end instead of from the beginning. So that's just another way that you can do that in code. And I think I kind of prefer that way for certain types of games, but it really depends on the speed of the game that you're playing. You could actually do this also for very high speed but high commitment games, like sort of a Ninja Gaiden type game or something where you mash out 5 keys in a row or 6 keys in a row, and you just read that backwards and go, oh, he wants the totally expanded ultra super version of this move.
Right.
So just keep rolling along with that and ignore the stuff that was pressed way early on. So as long as you end with the right sequence, it'll do that. It'll do any move that ends with whatever you typed, which means if you have a move that's X, 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 Y, X, Y,
Yep.
then I can press X any number of times followed by Y, X, Y, as long as I meet the minimum number of mashes.
Yep.
And it'll be good. I don't have to press X exactly 6 times and then Y, X, Y.
Right.
So a couple different things that you can do with that. Okay. Oh, and
So we have some minor Q&A,
we do. Yeah, we have at least one right here.
and Cody Minat, are these fighting animations free? Where I can get these animations? These will be included with the project.
Yep. Will be.
They were just holdover animations for some mocap work that was done. They said, sure, you can use these. We can't On the training streams, we attempt to avoid using anything from the marketplace because we don't want anybody to have to pay for something to follow along with anything. So we dug around and we have a bunch of, I don't want to call it, just spare mocap data that we have from all these sessions. And yeah, these will be available. I mean, they're not cleaned up, shiny or anything. The most that I did was make sure the feet were planted because that drives me nuts. And but some of them are very, like I think in there currently there's still the full mocap session.
Oh,
I think that's still
like...
imported. So he starts in T pose and he starts just going at it, right? And he's going in, and then,
that's pretty cool. You get,
and then he has his warm up. It's really interesting. He has his warm up, and then he goes, and then he's like, "Oh, you want me to slow down? Okay, nah, right?" Like
yeah,
he's doing
and
all
those
this
are the
slow
ones
stuff.
we used.
Yeah,
because we wanted the individual. We didn't want like the combinations with a bunch of punches in them.
Yeah. So yeah, all these will be included with the project, so you'll be able to snag these. And also, we've been talking. I don't think we've decided one way or the other, but it seems like it's a thing we want to do. So this is one of two massive systems that we would really like to have for a fighting game of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
The other system would be collision, how we handle did you punch a dude? And we're probably going to go ahead and continue on in not this coming 2 weeks, and not even probably the 2 weeks after that, but we'll talk about continuing on and creating some amount of ability for our guys to actually punch each other.
Yeah, we did talk about doing collision and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So also this time, since we've gotten to a reasonable stopping point,
On time.
we'll have the working version of this uploaded, and that will include that animation data and the code that actually
works.
Punch, which is the better version of the code in my opinion.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know if I might be being subjective, but I like the one that works better. And really quickly, we have a few more minutes.
We have 10 minutes.
We have 10 of them
until the hard stop.
That's this many. So that should be enough to go over just a few little things that we did. So one thing that we did in the game mode over here.
We didn't do anything in the game mode.
Am I in the right one?
Yes. I'm pretty sure.
See, having put them all on the same screen strategically is not necessarily the best move.
Perhaps just start closing them out and reopening them really quick.
I could do that.
Or find the one with all the weird logging.
Yeah, so in our game mode, there we go. I was pretty sure
Oh, fighting game controls game mode.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In our game mode. You notice that we had a 2-player game.
Yeah.
And there are just a couple of snags that people are probably going to run into that are extremely easy to get around if you know the answer.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't know the answer, I don't know, you could click through menus for a little while, and that's frustrating. So let's not do it. So here we go. A couple things that we did. On start play, I created the second player.
Okay.
So that's pretty simple. This is a blueprint function, or a blueprint accessible function, create player. I just used the uGamePlayStatus function directly, just called it, just gave it a thing for world context. There are a couple other arguments you can give here. You can say what controller you want them to use.
Yep.
Or it'll just pick the next one for you. You can say whether or not you wanted to create a pawn. The default answer is you do want to create a pawn. So, pretty simple. And then I just move this player forward. This right here should be a U property. How far apart do the players start? Could even be a level specific thing. So on each level, you could have your own game mode and just edit this one number.
Mm-hmm.
And then this should not really be hard coded. It's 180 degrees. So they're facing each other.
So they're facing each other. And that's actually something else to mention. Player 2 in this case, we didn't work in any system for reversing a move based off of character facing.
Oh yeah.
So when he's doing quarter circle forward X, I'm also doing the same exact movement.
Yeah.
But it's quarter circle back X for me.
Yeah. There will need to be when you read your input, you should negate the X vector based on which way the character is facing.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that you can actually do in the input function. Remember I was saying do all your processing outside the input function? You could do that in the input function, or you could do it right before you go to see what direction you're pressing when you're about to evaluate it. Just negate it based on what way your character's facing.
Yep.
All right, so that's the thing you can do. Probably the second way is better, because that way you can still use it for movement, which is camera relative.
Yep.
Okay. So that's one thing. I actually wrote a little camera class. It's very small. It doesn't do anything really interesting. I create this stuff that we normally would have built in Blueprint, just like that. Gave it a little vertical offset, which again, you can make a U property and then make a blueprint out of this. And all it does is it finds the midpoint between the two characters. And then it does this. It calculates the pitch, which is just to look down, because I know you're kind of at a fixed height above the field, so it just sort of looks down on the characters. And this, which takes the line between the characters and turns it 90 degrees. So that way I'm character A, character B, and I'm sitting back here looking at 90 degrees to this angle.
Aha, so gotcha.
So that's really all I did for the camera in this. Now what's cool about that is that when the pawns spawn in their begin play, all I do is I wait one tick just to kind of make sure the camera's actually gonna be there. Because when things spawn, you're not sure whether the camera will get its begin play event before either one of the two pawns.
Yep.
So to avoid that, I just made a little function to assign the pawns to the camera, and I set it for next tick. And as you can see, if it fails, I will try again next tick forever and ever and ever. I don't think it's ever actually done that, but just in case. And then basically what I do is I just try to find the camera, asking the game mode for it, and I tell it who I am, so it knows what two people it's looking between. And then most importantly, I set my view target to be that camera.
To be that camera.
So that way, we're using the camera. Now the other thing is that we don't want split screen. So not this one. So that is pretty easy to handle as well. Oh, we're still playing.
Yep. Makes it easy to find.
Okay, so we don't want split screen, so let's talk about how we don't get split screen. It's actually pretty simple.
Massimo, do not use split screen.
Use split screen, turn it off.
Yep.
Now, one other thing that's kind of neat is skip assigning gamepad to player 1. So normally, I have the keyboard, the mouse, and I have my gamepad. That's all me. And then a second controller plugged in, that's the next player.
Right.
Suppose that I want to play a game on my system, and I'm going to use the keyboard, and you're going to use the gamepad. In that case, I can check that, and the first player won't get any gamepads. The second player will get the first gamepad. The third player will get the second gamepad, and so on. That's depending on what kind of project you're doing. Like I remember in early Paragon testing, we would do that a lot. I'd go over to someone's computer and we'd be designing something, and it would be, all right, I'm going to control this character that I'm prototyping with the gamepad, and you use the regular input.
Right.
So that was just a convenient way of getting us both in the same screen without having to have an extra USB port taken up.
And just before we go here, we have another question.
Oh, we do.
Is it possible to make a fighting game entirely with blueprints? Technically, yes.
I think so, but I mean, all those data assets that I created
all
are
those data assets
kind of helpful.
Kind of helpful. I mean, and the speed. I mean, geez, that was that forum post where the guy came back and actually did all the math for how quote inefficient or efficient, however you want to put it, blueprints are, and you gain about 20% by going into C++. So. But, I mean, if you really only have a couple things going on a screen, two characters, you can rebuild everything that we just made in Blueprint. That is totally doable.
There's also, I forget exactly where it is, but there is, you could just Google this, I don't remember exactly where it is.
Nativization?
Yeah, Blueprint nativization is...
It is a thing, and it kicks out some rather fascinating C++ files.
Yeah, don't look at them.
Don't look at them.
They work, don't look at them.
But they do enable you get back a very large chunk. Yeah.
Project packaging nativized blueprint assets.
Yep.
So that'll turn your blueprints into C++. It will not be as fast as if you had an actual engineer write the C++.
Right, but you're still gaining back probably a good 10 to 15%.
Yeah, it'll be a lot faster than just using blueprints. So you can do that, and I think in Paragon we use that as well. So like that scales up to full scale,
Fairly-
60
yes.
frames per second on console. You know, lots of stuff going on the screen kind of games.
And the last question: can you turn off and on split screen dynamically?
You mean during the game? Yes, but
Well, I mean, you would have to.
let's say it this way. I don't think you can use that checkbox dynamically. Like I wouldn't
Right.
try to do that under the hood. But what you can do is you can set up 2 cameras. They can render the texture. We were just talking about this earlier in
Yep.
the week.
We were talking
And-
about the weird guy who the weird split screen that the guy did that has a distance indicator between and then slashes based off of the angle from the characters.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So basically, you can render 2 cameras to texture, and then you can put those 2 textures on the screen side by side, vertically, diagonal. You could do like just 2 proper aspect ratio screens. Resident Evil 5 does that. That just kind of overlay at the corners a little bit. So you can do it pretty much any way you want.
And then when things get close, you just kind of either fade and merge together, or you just have one take over
Yeah.
as the characters move in, and that's pretty effective.
So yes, but it won't be just.
Yeah, don't just.
I don't think it's that. I've actually never tried, but I would be surprised if that didn't do some camera setup at the very beginning of the game that you need to have done. So that's going to be a render to texture thing.
But that is all the time we have.
All right.
So we will be back next week. I believe it's just me. Or
Possibly.
actually, I
It's
haven't.
not me.
I haven't decided who's going to be on the stream. I don't think, because Alexander's out, and I just got back from vacation, so not everything's laid in stone at this moment. So
Yep.
we'll get a forum post up probably later today or tomorrow to see what we're doing. But
Yeah, and also this will be up in the next, I don't know, day or 2.
yeah, we can get it up tomorrow. With Fortnite coming in, we got to kind of scoot.
Yep,
So
we got to go.
take
Fortnite
it easy,
time.
guys.
See you guys.
Bye.